What's up, guys? Welcome back to the latest retro board game show. You're thinking, I didn't think it was called that last time. You're right, it's not. It wasn't, because this is a brand new name for the show, for the channel, for everything. Because here's why. In the past, we've been talking about Age of Rebellion. We just did a review of Mansions of Madness, phenomenal game. I couldn't say that enough. But I decided, you know what, I don't want to just focus on just new games, don't want to focus on just old games, don't want to focus on just role-playing or tabletop or miniatures or anything like that. I wanted to focus on all things, I should say tabletop, yes, but all things board, card, hobby, anything like that. So if you like Warhammer, if you like RPGs, those are more on the outliers of my experience, but they're going to be covered here as well. The majority of everything will be your typical hobby games, board games, card games. You can see by the shelf behind me kind of what I'm talking about here. So that's the new name of the channel, is the latest retro, because that way it gives me an excuse to cover old and new stuff. What we're doing today is a top 5 list. You're thinking, that sounds like an awfully familiar concept. It is, but it's not also not original. It's not mine. You probably know this if you've watched the Dice Tower or anything like that. You've seen top whatevers. This is a top 5 list that I was putting together on the way home from the airport. And this list I'm pretty excited about because it's the top 5 moments in gaming that I've known or someone has known they were going to win. Now, I'm not talking about a co-op game where you all sit across the table from each other and go, you do this and I do, and we just, okay, we're going to win in 3 turns. That's not fun. It's only fun if you play it out. And to me, that's not even fun. Anyway, if you can just look and go, boom, 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 yep, we win. This is that moment in a non-co-op game. I don't know, what do you even call that? A counter-op game. I'm sure there's an obvious term I'm missing, but a game that you're sitting there trying to win. And you see it coming, but no one else does. That moment, and it's happened to me quite a few times. 3 of these are my experiences. 2 of them on the list are other people's that I was playing and got beat in. Number 1 on the list is Game of Thrones, the board game, or Game of Thrones, the board game. This is one of my favorite games. I've got some friends who are really interested in the books and the show and all that kind of stuff, and we get together and play. We've played quite a lot the last few months, and it's just such a good game. Area control, it's very thematic, it's very well thought out. It's similar to another game that I'm going to mention on the list as well. Same designer. You probably already know what it is at this point. But so we're playing, and the last 2 times I'll play with these guys, there comes this moment in the game where I'm sitting there, and I look down at the board, and I have 6 castles, or 6 territories, whatever, and I can see where I need to go. And I just need to get there. Now, my favorite time, this is why this is number 5 on the list, or 1 on the list, or whatever I called it. Whatever I called it was wrong. This is number 5. The reason it's number 5 is because I had 6, and my buddy Aaron was sitting on, I don't remember where he was on the map, but he was sitting on a castle that was just one of the small ones, so it only gave him 1 resource point, and he was thinking, well, I'm not going to use it next turn, so I'm going to go try to take this castle. So in his last turn, the last action of the moving phase of his actions was he moved out of this little castle and left it there. I'm sitting there adjacent to it. He doesn't even see it. No one at the table sees it. They're all dancing and doing little jives about how they're going to win this turn because of this card in their hand for the battle they're about to play. And I'm literally staring at the board like praying, no one notices. And they don't. So I'm last in turn order, though, until the Westeros phase. Flip the card, and it's the Westeros phase card where you bid on the power tracks. And oh my gosh, I was so excited because I had plenty of power left. They were wondering, though, why would I bid so much on the first track when there was the sword? You get the Valyrian steel. Why would you not want that for all the battles coming? Held up my hand, turned it over, boom. I think I bid 12 power on the Iron Throne track, and they were like, okay. Everybody places their tokens. They place all of their tokens out, and I'm having to play it cool the entire time, even though at this point I've already won. I knew I had won already. I knew I'd won already the turn before, but this moment when we get the power track and I see that I'm first on the Iron Throne, which means you get to go first, I knew it was my game to win. It was great. It was such a good moment because they've spent all this time putting out their tokens, and I didn't want to ruin it for them yet. So they put out all their tokens, do everything they can, and then we flip them up. There's no raids. There's no support or anything like that. I just do marching orders, flip it, walk straight into the territory, and have 7 castles and win the game. That was a number 5 experience. I love Game of Thrones. It's a phenomenal game, but that moment of knowing you're going to win and trying to hide it from everyone else so they don't see it and don't see it on your face of, what's he see? So that's why that's number 5. My number 4 moment. This is a very similar game. I just mentioned it in the last one. Number 4 is in the game Twilight Imperium. Twilight Imperium is probably, if not in the top 3, it's in the top 5 favorite games of all time of mine. I've only played the game twice, but I like it that much. I like the theme. I like the mechanics. Even though it's a little bit muddy, it's a big game. I mean, both in size of the box. I don't know if you can see it up there. Size of the box and everything is huge, but it's similar in the style of Game of Thrones, except you're going with victory points, not castles. So playing with the same group of guys. Now, maybe it's just the fact that these guys are the ones playing, but same group of guys playing, and I see that I have one less victory point. The other guy sees that he has one less victory point. We're tallying up our the kind of the cleanup phase, and I'm untapping all my planets and everything like that. And right before we do that, I see it says spend this many resources to get a victory point, and I knew I was going to win. Well, both of them had just been spending their planets building. For the building, they were trying to build all this kind of stuff, have a massive army, because they were about to come in and take Mechatol Rex, because that was their secret objective or something like that. They built up this huge army, spent all their planets to do it. So I had a bunch of planets left, and during that status phase, or whatever it's called, if you have enough resources to pay, well, I didn't have enough, except I had trade goods, because I was playing the trading turtles. Those guys were great. So I comes to that moment, and I say, I'm going to spend these to spend 10 trade goods. Boom, there's my point. And they had just spent all this time putting out their miniatures, trying to get their war sons, all that kind of stuff, ready to attack me. And I knew I was going to win, because I knew that they couldn't do it that turn. They were out of actions, and I knew that I didn't need any more actions. I had everything I needed to win on that turn. So that's why that's my number 4, Twilight Imperium. Knowing that moment right before, when everyone else is doing all that crazy stuff, that you've already got the victory in the bag, you just can't show it on your face. Now, that was not important, it's about showing it on your face, but still, you have to play it cool for that moment when you go ba-boom and drop the dice on them, or drop whatever on them, drop the mic on them. So that's my number 4. Number 3 is also a Fantasy Flight game. Yes, I know, I'm kind of a fanboy in that sense, but Fantasy Flight's Star Wars Rebellion. This is a newer addition to the collection. It came out this year. Star Wars Rebellion is an awesome game. It's a 2-player game, so you're right there in the face. It's technically a 4-player game, but honestly, it's a 2-player game. You're right there in each other's face. It's a huge, just dramatic moment. Everything you do is just tense, because you think, well, if I move here, he's going to think my base is here and he'll attack me here. If I move here, he's going to build up forces. Maybe he'll move his base when I go in here. So no matter what side you're on, there's just a complete tense feeling the entire time you're playing. You're trying to get enough ships out, and as a rebellion, you can never get enough units out to beat. You have to do your missions. Your missions are what's important. So I was playing against my friend Patrick, and there was a combo basically in my hand of a certain set of heroes and a certain set of action cards, and I needed this to happen first, and I needed this to happen second. Well, the problem was, he was right there knocking on my door as the bases was coming in, and I was going to lose, because he was going to come in and just wipe me out. Well, the problem was, he did something else first, because he didn't know 100% sure. He had narrowed it down. I think he went to the wrong planet. So I had one action to do the combo, which let me pick up a card or something like that, and then I was able to do... Anyway, however it went down, I was able to do another action. I was able to play... actually, you know what? I think what it was is whatever my action did on the first one, it let me get the mission objective, what I have to do to have the mission. And right as he was about to win, I just clinched it right out of his hand. So the moment he moved to the wrong planet instead of the one I was on, I think it was one of those ones where he knew it was the entire board. I was not anywhere else from my base, and he had narrowed down to just these 2 planets. And he moves here, but I'm over here. And the second he did that, I knew I had won the game. All that planning, all that strategy, all that building, all that spending of resources and resource allocation, all that kind of stuff, to nothing, because he went to the wrong planet. And some people may not like that it comes down to a 50-50. It's not always a 50-50. It also happened that I had the right heroes and the right combo missions in my hands. So, man, Star Wars Rebellion, excellent. But it's one of those games where you just have that feeling of, I'm going to win, but I can't show it, or he's going to see something's up and change his plan on me, or she's going to see that I'm doing this or that. Star Wars Rebellion, man, number 3. Number 2 and number 1 are different, because they didn't happen to me. They happened to me, but I lost. Someone else did this. Number 2 is Viticulture, and it's pretty embarrassing. My wife and I were playing Viticulture. I love Viticulture. I think it's a great worker placement game. Worker placements are probably my favorite type of games. So I was teaching my wife the game, right? And I don't go easy, but I also don't just, I want to kill her and just try to win, you know what I mean? I try to explain the rules in a very fair way and play at a level, because I usually read the rules first and I'll play through them in my mind, try to learn how to play the game and get a good concept, and then I'll teach her how to play the game. Because she's not interested in reading a rule book or anything like that, but she loves playing games. So Viticulture is one of her favorites now. First time through, I'm not taking it easy, but I'm not, just going crazy either. I get to the end, pretty close to the end. You have to have 20 points to signal the end of the game. And I see in my hand, and what I have on the board, I have enough wine to make this order. And it's a great order. I think it's worth 6. I think it's worth 6 or whatever. Anyway, so I spend it. And I do this look, and I never do this, but she will remember this day. I do this look where I go like this. As if I'm trying not to smile that I'm going to win this game. So I drop the card out there like, hey, I'm going to complete this wine. She's like, why would you grin like that? That's just so annoying. It's obnoxious. Why would you do that? When you know you're going to win, why would you do this? Well, it turns out she looks in her hand. She's still got a grande worker left. She drops him out there, places and sells an order that bumps her past me by 1 point. So she was so mad at me that I had done this cheesy little grin of like, hey, sorry, I'm going to beat you, whatever, like Sam Healy does. And then lo and behold, she comes back and beats me by 1 point. So she was very excited about that. Not just getting to beat me, but getting to beat that grin, that smug grin. So Viticulture, I knew I was going to win. It was my game. I had it. It was mine. And then she beats me by 1 point. So that's my number 2. The number 1, and this one is not fun. This is a great game. It's one of my, again, top favorite games, and I can't get a lot of people to play this with me around. There's one guy in our group who hates this game because he had a bad experience. We played 8 people the first time with him, which is probably not a good idea. The game is Cosmic Encounter. Sometimes you're going to win. Doesn't matter what the cards look like in your hand because of certain alien powers. One of those alien powers happens to be the Ace. We're playing a 5-person game of Cosmic Encounter. Brand new people playing. So the Ace is in there. I've got all the expansions, to Cosmic Encounter because I'm a completionist about certain games like that and whatever. Anyway, so she has the Ace. She starts the game. So you can't win on your first turn with the Ace because it says if you start your turn with a foreign colony, she didn't have any foreign colonies. So she starts the game, does 2 encounters all the way around the board. So we're about to have our 11th encounter of Cosmic Encounter because everybody had, their long encounters that are going positive and all that kind of stuff. And turn comes back around to her right before her turn, and we're thinking, oh, man. She's not doing very good. She doesn't have anybody out there. She has only a couple colonies. She was in last place, I believe. Doesn't matter. Because the Ace says if you have a foreign colony anywhere at the start of your turn, you win the game. So it comes all the way back around, and she's just playing it so cool. And this is our friend Elizabeth. And she goes, I'll win. I'm like, no, of course you don't win. You don't understand the game. We just taught you the game. You don't know what you're doing. She hands me the card because I've never played with the Ace before. And I looked down and I was like, so angry. I wasn't angry in this sense, but I was like, how did I miss that? How did I not know that was coming? Because the thing is, we were playing the face down variant. And so I don't know enough about the game to know which powers only have 4 planets. So it could have been this or it could have been a different planet. Cosmic Encounter, one of those games where you just know you're going to win at a certain point. But you have to play it very cool, or else everyone else will come for you and attack you and all that kind of stuff. And at that point with the Ace, there's almost nothing you could do to get her not to win. So that's the top 5 list of those moments in games where you know you're going to win and how much fun that is. And the most fun part about it is just concealing it and holding it in, hoping no one notices you just grinning like I did with Viticulture. So that's the top 5 list for this week. Hope to get some more video, hopefully a new review this week coming up. I'm not sure what on yet. That's not professional, I know. But hey, this isn't professional. A new review coming up this week. Check out more for the latest retro gaming channel, and you'll see your favorite games, both old and new, right here. Till next time, I'm Bryan.